Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Howard Company's Branding, Signage, and Technology podcast. My name is Brian Ward from the marketing team. Today we are joined by Iris from our design team.
Hi, I'm one of the graphic designers on our team, but my main focus will be on the BrandHub graphic fulfillment service platform that we help build for our customers.
And then Victoria from our production team.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm a graphics production manager. I'll be handling all of your graphic fulfillment needs that may come from BrandHub as well.
Sweet. Well, thank you for joining. So today we want to talk about brand management, but in a sense of how can it be set up in an easy way for the customer, both the operator of the business as well as their end user. So if we can just start with what is brand management and what systems are currently in place to make it easy for our customers.
Like prior to BrandHub or customers with BrandHub?
Currently, with the system we have in place. So yeah, BrandHub. And then if you want to kind of describe what BrandHub is.
Okay. So BrandHub is one of our services that we provide a platform on whatever products or services that you get through the Howard Company. So you will have a customized portal that is designed around your operations to make it easier for the corporate offices, franchisees, or anyone within that industry in their business to just log in, order, have everything they need in there that's already pre-approved, so there's no one-offs, and if there is, you already have the information if you have to reorder. So it really helps with consistency and taking the load off of the customer and off of us, because prior to this, we would either have to rely completely on the business, which at times can be hard, especially when they grow fast, or we would have to be managing it ourselves within a sell sheet and hoping that all of our information is correct.
Definitely.
So you kind of hit on the corporate and franchisee part. So how does it work with both of those parties? Do you work with corporate first to set up this site and then franchisees use it? Do you work with franchisees first? How does that process go?
So typically corporate calls the shots on how they want it to operate, because the site can either just be only the higher ups can go in and order and everything. We have some businesses that it's just corporate going in, but then we have other businesses where we meet with corporate and we set up systems and filter how their franchisees can use it. So corporate tells us what we want, how their operations work, and we basically customize it to fit what their needs are.
So kind of going back to making it easy. So a platform like this, yes, it's online. Yes, it's available for corporate franchisees to make adjustments, order it right away. But from how we've done in the past, or maybe how a lot of people currently still do it, how has it made such a big leap forward?
Can I speak on this one a little bit? History has shown, and we've had several customers that have wanted this setup before for years. But history has shown that whenever we are doing big corporate setups, whether or not that's just layouts for every single location, that was one of the biggest issues, is that it kind of put the human error back into our internal system, which is not good. It doesn't streamline things. The process takes more time. The lead times were quicker. So with this whole BrandHub solution, it takes a lot of that human error and that lead time out, which kind of held us back, for a while. So that is one of the biggest, I think, selling points, is the fact that we give the customer what they need. They have their own lead times. Our setup is perfect for them, and we can get them stuff in a more timely manner than what we used to before.
Can you dive into more of some of those examples of human error that happen frequently before this platform was live, and how much of a time saver for our customer it is?
Yeah, so whenever there were, for example, say where there were multiple locations for a customer, and they needed a whole reskinning, which is just a whole re-graphics setting up of every location, right? As opposed to having BrandHub, where that kind of just moves the system through, we had to make a layout for every single location out there, which means a designer had to touch every single graphic out there if there were differences in the graphics, which typically in a lot of cases there were. So when there was no standard, it was you were just a lot more prone to actually getting mistakes made on our end to give to the customer, for the customer to give back to us changes and things that they could have otherwise had been done with already at that point.
Yeah.
But when you put a designer or humans into that setup in that position, it made more timely, and the lead times were a lot longer. So as opposed to doing like a 3 to 5 day turnaround for something like this, would probably be 2 to 3 times even as longer, just because you have more work put in on the front end. So that's the biggest thing.
And like another thing on that point, with BrandHub, it's not just the equipment. So as you were saying, it's the graphics, and with human error. Before we upload this template that people can edit, we talk about what restrictions we can have. Like even if they enter something wrong, we can make sure it reformats it so the decimal's in the wrong place. We can make sure that it automatically does that. And this way, even if you have your franchisees do it and you're worried like, oh my gosh, what if they put in the wrong prices? Or like, what if they try to go wild, wild west on us, right? It's limited abilities on what you need, and you can even request an approval workflow where it can be sent to whoever and they can check it over to confirm and edit it before payment.
Yeah, just from knowing both of your guys' departments and working with you, I mean, simple things like you hit on price. If a coffee's $4 and originally they were working with our department, they're like, oh, this coffee's $4, and somebody mixed it up where it gets sent over as $3, they can do that all online right now. So, and you don't have to do the back and forth emails and wait for people to respond. So, that's definitely a plus. Kind of going off, you have some people that are maybe hesitant because they want to save money, do it themselves, or do it the old way. Like, is that actually true? Like, you might be saving money, but how much time are you saving with this whole system?
So because it doesn't have to go through our design department, they're not paying for the time it takes to edit just a simple file that's just a couple prices, right? They get to do it themselves. It saves them money with that. It puts the control in their hands. Mm-hmm. So and that in itself brings incredible value. You can literally be on your phone eating dinner, ordering your graphics.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. It's mobile and desktop. You could do either of those things on any platform you have, which is great. Much easier. Things are pretty set up for you. So once corporate has an idea in mind for their graphics or their products, once approval is done, pretty much our work is done at that point. Unless we have some content editability, that we need to do. If we need to edit something for you at that point, again, it's just that one simple time. It still would take a lot less time doing it that way as opposed to what we've been doing, in previous.
Yes, saves time, and it also helps you kind of plan ahead for your budget. Like, how much do you actually have to spend on a project, and you can see ahead of time before you purchase it, so you can get those funds that you might need.
We can do quoting for things before you decide to pay. So quoting can come back to us before you even pay. That's a bigger help too, because right now I think as of right now the quoting is kind of just dependent upon it, but we have some kind of estimation based on a real system for our deliveries through freight and stuff that actually works and can give you an idea at least
we
what you're
could
paying for.
Set up the site for them to pay on the site or for them just to get a quote. It really depends on what they're looking for and what they need and how they operate. Like, we have another business that they just want to be quoted because it's only corporate going through it. So this way they get to start the order and then they can send the money to the order to their franchisees, and then the franchisees can pay through the link.
So is this available for both digital content and static printing graphics? We
do have the capabilities to do digital for you to edit your digital graphics, but we haven't had any customers do that yet. But we could easily have it set up in different ways for it to either they get the JPEG and they upload it, or the JPEG goes to us when we upload it.
Yeah.
And I'd like to reiterate, if you do have digital content, we can also do that training with you as you get set up. So, if this site helps with changing content for printed graphics, I think the systems we're on digitally, you can do that at home as well, eating dinner, changing prices, changing content. So
yeah, like this one main thing that I've really noticed in the meetings that I've had with customers really talking about it, what really, like, one thing I think is a driving force is that it really helps, like, kind of get the stepping stones of creating more brand consistency, where before they didn't have that as much. And so this way we can really, like, overview things. Like, we'll look over their menus, see what the differences are for 20 locations and help them kind of pinpoint it. So this way we can generalize a template for them. No matter how complicated, like, we've had some very complicated
Yeah. So if you can expand on that, because I would like to talk about, again, we're hinting on our platform a lot called BrandHub, but just brand management in general. How does that lead to brand consistency? So you talked about some things, checking over multiple locations at once, but what other ways would a brand management platform like this lead to brand consistency?
We have to discuss with them, and they don't have to make all the decisions right away. We can talk about the pros and cons, but of what they're looking for. So we have to really fully understand, like, what do they want? What do they do now? How can we streamline it? And by streamlining it, you find a way to find more of their standard, more of their consistencies, more of, like, what they need, what versus what they do. And it helps, like, define it. Like, for example, we have a customer that we're working on a site right now for, and they have two of our systems. They have the DT Choice and the DT Flex, which can be really hard to manage because that's a lot of different variations of graphics in each of those. And over the years, we would look over their graphics, and sometimes it was just, like, an image here that would, on, like, a left panel versus a right panel, that really didn't make too much of a difference, but we were looking over and we're like, oh, this is happening a lot. So you find the inconsistencies together, not just in graphics, but you can also, it helps you define, like, what sizes do I want to sell these edge light sites to my customers, to our corporations. And it helps you be able to keep track of that as well, because there's the order history, and you can go back to, we have different site settings and different site groups, which different site groups can see different things. And so if you incorporate, that means we can make it available that you can see over all your locations, so you can know what all your locations have just in our system. So you don't have to worry about being too inconsistent or ordering the wrong things.
What's really nice about that too is you're working with us every step of the way, even when you make changes later on in the system too, because they'll find something. It's always something. But what's great about having this system is it's a place for everybody to go find things, but it's also a place, like you said, for everybody to keep track on what they're selling. There's a big order, as a customer right now that I've made a web store for, and they're not simple. They have too many options, materials, sizes, and whatnot, but they're still pretty standard. The thing about it is like, if they have anything that they were concerned that they didn't have on the website, and it should have been there, like, they can find that out. It could be something that simple as, like, I want to change to this. Well, you'll know that change is done if you see on the website. So everything will have accountability every step of the way.
It helps you create a standard when a lot of companies, they start up small, but when they grow fast. And it's so hard to create a brand consistency and standard when you're growing that fast. But one thing that's, I think, is really a useful tool with BrandHub and just brand management in general is that if you start when you're, like, at a lower number, right, and you grow with it, we're going to be able to help with the consistency, with the standards. We're assisting the customer on making their life easier, in return making our life easier because we can help them better.
Yeah.
You could start from scratch on an established corporates as well. But there's a lot more work to it because they already most likely have already established a brand setup, and they want you to kind of keep consistently with it. But if they didn't do a really good job, for example, of, like, keeping track on what locations did what, they don't have a standard. And at that point, you might not be able to go back. But there are things that we can do to kind of keep them straight
and help clean it up. Like, that's one thing we've helped kind of clean it up, help them figure out, okay, what do we want? What is our goal? Right. Because you sometimes lose aspect of that when there's multiple marketing, aspects that they're trying to reach at. So it's just kind of like helping them get back to the core, like, okay, what do we need? What's working? What's not? And, like, how do we move forward?
Yeah. And I think a lot of these brands, they look for, why should I opt into this? And, obviously a lot of the reasons we've been mentioning are obviously great reasons to opt in, but there's the other aspect of what does it do? How does it benefit my end user, their customers? And I think, putting together a plan that is organized, it cleans stuff up, it keeps things consistent. I think that eventually shows on the customer side, talking about brand consistency and
Oh,
And
definitely.
they know
It
what
makes-
to expect and what's
Yes.
expected of them, so they don't have
Yeah.
to like kind of be like, oh, am I supposed to talk to this person or this
Yeah.
person? It's like, oh, it's all there.
yeah,
Right.
It
Definitely
makes-
keeps
it
things.
just
The customer experience then is much better than what you could have had previously.
and
It's much smoother.
honestly, like it's something like new kind of in our industry. There's not a lot of businesses that do this yet, and I think that's in itself is something to kind of stand like, or that's something unique with this is that the customer will be able to kind of help shape how this works for them as well.
yeah.
They've got a rate. They've got
It's tailored to them.
Every time.
No one's the same.
correct. Yep. So we're tailored to you in our services. We work with you every step of the way. We keep it maintained for you every single step of the way.
We understand your brand as like we
Yes.
try to understand your brand as much as you understand your brand. So this way we know how the best to set it up for you and continue to help you grow.
So in that initial meeting with a brand, when you're setting up a site, you kind of hit on before. What are their goals? What have they been doing before? But what type of questions do you ask to prepare them, to prepare yourself in that initial meeting?
So the typical first meeting, it can vary depending if they're new or existing. But what I always try to understand is, how does your graphic fulfillment service like work now? Like where do you start when you need changes and where do you end? And a lot of the times they bounce around to a bunch of different departments. And then I also try to discuss like what kind of struggles that they are handling right now and how we can help streamline that and like focus on narrowing down the variance in what they do and what they need for customability, because a lot of now no one location is always the same in a lot of, and this meeting we discuss that. We discuss why it's different, what's a struggle, what's working, and like how your operations work internally. So this way we could make sure that it doesn't change things too much for you besides to just make it easier.
Yeah. And I would say to have that initial meeting, if you're a current customer, reach out to the salesperson that works with you a lot. And then if you're brand new, you haven't heard of the Howard Company before, you want to work with us on this, visit our website and just contact us and just mention brand management, BrandHub, and we can get that meeting set up. So to wrap up this topic, I just want to know, what's the one thing that excites you two the most about this platform and the capabilities it has for businesses?
I think the coolest part is that a lot of people, I think a lot of people still don't understand what we can fully do. And when we add some of these services, I find that Iris tends to also put in some different products and different things in there to kind of be like, hey, not only can we do what you are asking us to do, but we can also do potentially more than that, which gets me excited because that can bring graphics to us again. Whereas a lot of things are gone digital. That's great, but like certain things are just classic, and there are certain things you can just always do with that. So I love the brand fulfillment aspect of that. I think that's great.
For me, I think I can't do the same thing every day. Like, I love a challenge. I love to learn about my customers. I love talking to them and just understanding who they are and what their brand means to them and finding ways just to make their life easier and just all the the small details that I learn while building these sites. It's exciting. And it's cool to see it when it's done and then you're like, oh man, like look at this from start to finish, because it's never the same. It is great.
It's definitely individual every time. You can take some things and apply them to other sites, but you can't keep it the same. There are so many differences to it, and the nuances that does kind of make it more fun.
It does, and it's just like give me tell me how complicated it is. I love to hear it, and I love to find ways to solve it.
And make it simplified. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Like I just want to work with them and like see where we can go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think from my standpoint, it's kind of going back to what both of you said before. If they're a chain and say they have updates that need to go out across each of their locations, it's nicely simplified, easy process, allows them to do that. If they're 1, 2, 3 location chain that, they might be smaller, but if they're looking to grow, or even if they have a smaller team, it takes a lot of that workload off of somebody that, could be spending their time helping the business in another way.
They
So
can
Yes,
design stuff from scratch in the system. Like they don't even need like a full standard. Like your LTOs, we can set up a special interactive template, and they can just go in there and build their LTOs. Like they don't
So
need
many
it.
options
Yeah.
like that.
Exactly.
Right.
It's
There's a tier almost of editability for these things. You really can.
there's so much we can do with this. Like this could go on forever. Like it's endless. So it's just like bring us what you guys need, and we'll find a way to meet it.
yeah,
I don't know if I mentioned this, and this can be edited out as well if you want. But one of the other things that I thought was kind of cool was the ability for when we have the templates and it's submitted through and you approve, it goes right past our production too. It's already set up. Like you're just bringing it to the printer and then printing it from there. Like it's very fast for something like that. So I don't know if I brought up the fact that even the graphics side of it is fast.
so it gets out the door quicker. No, we'll keep that in. Okay, so both of you are new to the podcast. I like to end it with some fun, interesting, get to know you question so that our viewers can get to know our team.
Okay.
So, the question of the week is, if you were to enter any fictional universe for 1 week, which one would it be?
Fictional universe.
See, I know this is a surprise, but I love Godzilla. Just a little bit. I've only seen every single movie. But I'm terrified of living in that universe because I don't want to die. So that's a tough question. But it'd be kind of cool to see Godzilla, so I guess Godzilla. If I die, I die.
Whatever universe for me that has like very little like human touch in there, like more of like a Garden of Eden kind of setup. That's kind of where I would go with that because
I think calm and peaceful.
beautiful setup with all just greenery everywhere, and yeah, that's what I would go.
If it was only a week, I would say Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Oh, so it's
that's
just
a good
for a
one.
week, and you can.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can pick like.
Any make-believe scenario. I mean,
So
food falling from
technically
the
it's not
sky,
different
I'll take that.
universe? So okay, all right. So this
That's a
might.
good one.
Oh,
That's a good one.
But it'd be a little scary if it was more than a week, because then
You might get
I've
drowned in
had some
meatballs.
bad meatball storms.
yeah. That's a hard one because mostly all I watch these days are like superhero movies, Mission
I don't watch
Impossible,
anything.
Godzilla, and I don't think those
You gotta
universes.
think about
are
when you
me.
were a kid.
Like when I was a kid. Well, I love The Lion King. Do I get to become a lion?
If you want to live in Africa.
If I could become a lion, I guess.
If I could be a fairy or just have some kind of wings, small wings
You
of
could
some
get fairy
sort.
vibes.
Yeah,
Buffalo wings?
no buffalo wings. Fairy wings.
Okay.
Knock that one out. That's fine.
Well, thank you for joining me. I hope you all enjoyed the conversation that was shared today. If you have any other questions, you can comment down below this video, or again, go to our website, howardcompany.com, and just fill out the contact form, reach out to your salesperson, and we can definitely get this conversation started in terms of brand management. But I appreciate you listening and hope to see you in the next episode.
Bye.
See ya.